So what I'd like for you guys to do is write this down on your whiteboards real quick. And let's talk about what is not going to be fun about this problem. The fractions. Do you remember what I told you about how to get rid of a fraction?
No, I forgot.
Okay, well, I appreciate that. I just need to multiply by the denominator. So if the denominator of this fraction is 3. So if I multiply by 3 over 1, and then over here, I just multiply by 3. On this side, I'm going to get 12. Okay? Now, I only have to multiply the numbers in the front. Okay? So now here's an interesting thing. When I multiply by 3 and then I divide by 3, they kind of cancel each other out. But you could think of it like this. What's 3 times 4? 12. And then what's 1 times 3? 3. What's 12 divided by 3? 4. So this 3 cancels with this 3. So you're left with 4 times the quantity 6x plus 9. Now what do I do, you guys? Yeah, but what's the fancy math word we've been using to, what do we call that? Very good. We are using the distributive property to multiply 4 times 6x, which is 24x. Then we're going to multiply 4 times positive 9, which is positive 36. And then everything else just kind of stays the same, less than 12. I need to get x by itself, so that means I'm going to either move the 24 or the 36. Which one's easier to move, the 24 or the 36? Okay, the 36 is easier. We could move the 24, but it's harder because I got to divide everything by 24. When I move, in other words, so let me explain why it's easier. If I move the 24, I got to divide this by 24. I got to divide this by 24. I have to divide this by 24. In other words, I'd have to do this, right? That's a lot of math. Now, there's nothing wrong with this math, but I could certainly do it. But if I move the 36 first by subtracting 36, it's a lot easier. So then I end up with 24x is less than, actually, this is negative 24. So that's just easier. So this thing of remember, this is the coefficient. That number in front of the variable, or what we call a coefficient, that's always the last move. Very rarely is that not the last move. So you always want to save that to the end. Okay? In high school math, it's very difficult for me to think of a scenario where that isn't the last move. Okay? I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying right now I'm having a hard time thinking of a time when it isn't. Okay? So anyways, now what do I do to move the 24 away? Just divide this by 24. Whatever I do on one side, I do on the other. And so these 24s will cancel. This cancels with this. And then my final answer, I'm running out of room, but it's actually x is less than negative 1. Does that make sense?
Yep.
All right. Let's try to do one more. We'll see how we're doing. Actually, you know what? I'm going to leave this on the board and let you guys write that down for a second. If you finish this, I want you to try to do number 6 on your own on the white.